Do you stay up late wondering what will happen to your child with special needs if something happens to you? Is this something that you worry about on a daily basis? I have children who are typically developing and check all the boxes for the things that you would hope and dream for your children. I also have children with special needs that will never live independently. My name is Laura Croft, and I'm with Law Offices of Laura Croft, Timeless Estate Planning, and I've dedicated my life to helping families with special needs children. And I certainly know that when you have a child with special needs, thinking about what could happen to them in the future is really a place of deep stress and fear and is something that consumes us. And I have to say that a lot of times that fear and that overwhelm kind of leads to doing nothing. Like we kind of get frozen in that fear. And what I want to encourage everybody and point out is that, the real tragedy comes when we do nothing. So, part of my approach to special needs planning is making sure that you have a plan in place for your child to ensure that the life that you envision for them, the care, the love, the support, and that ranges from, maybe it's medical support, financial, might be specific housing, work. There's so many pieces to this puzzle that is laid out in a really clear plan, and that really you've done everything to ensure that you have that plan in place. So they have, this fortress of protection surrounding them as they move into adulthood. And more importantly, if something happens to you, we've got to have that in place. And if they're under 18, certainly that includes guardianship. And if they're over 18, maybe that's some type of supported decision making or even a conservatorship. Now, we want that all in place, but as importantly, I want you to be able to walk away knowing that you've put this all in place to give you the peace of mind where you can live a little bit more freely, where you're not laying awake at night spinning, your thoughts out of control with what happens to my child if something happens to me. That's a really scary place to be in. And I get it because I've been there. So the next question is, what can we do? This is big. This is a lot. Should you do it on your own? No, absolutely not. Not only is it too much, it's too stressful for anyone to take on, but it's too big of a deal to either get frozen in that fear or in that place of overwhelm, or if it's not done correctly. It's got to work. And today I'm just talking about what can we do from a financial perspective. As I said before, there are so many pillars. I look at them, the pillars of support of parents of a child with special needs, right? What happens is if you don't have a plan in place and your assets go through probate, you lose control of how it goes to your beneficiaries, to your heirs. And what happens is that the minute your child turns 18, they will receive their share of that distribution if it goes through probate. So if you have two children and 50% goes out to maybe a child that's typically developing, 50% goes to your child with special needs. It does not matter. They do not care what their disability is. Now, if that child is receiving government benefits, and that could range from Social Security, it could range to food assistance or Medi-Cal. There's a big range of government benefits that they could be receiving. If they receive a distribution at that time, they will be disqualified from, either part or all of their benefits, depending on what that inheritance looks like. Now, for so many of us, we've spent our life figuring out how to best support our child. So it's not just the, SSI or the medical, it's the whole picture. And if they lose part of those benefits, it really could cause a lot of stress, not only in your child's life, but now we have someone who's stepped in, is helping them, right? And this is really stressful. We spent our whole life figuring out what's best for our child, who we know and we love and we've dedicated every moment to. If we're not here, we want to make sure we have a plan in place. So that caregiver that's stepping in or that family member, whoever it is, they have a path to follow. So something happens to us, and then all of a sudden our child is also losing these amazing benefits, which may also come with a work support, or it could come with some type of housing support, right? This is a really comprehensive plan that you've worked really hard to put in place. So we don't want to lose that. But if we don't put a plan in place ourselves and the, state of California steps in and puts their own plan in place, that distribution, that inheritance is going outright to your child and they will be losing their benefits. So, can we avoid that? What can we do? Yes, absolutely, we can. And what it's called is a third party special needs trust. When something happens to you, your child's share, instead of it going outright to them, which would disqualify them from government benefits, their share goes into a third party special needs trust. This third party special needs trust is a carefully crafted, it has very specific legal parameters to it. Essentially, what our goal is and what that trust allows for is that your children is able to both receive their government benefits and receive their inheritance. So they're able to have both, but it has to be done in a very intentional and specific legal way. So this is the first approach. The first pillar that we're looking at is how do we ensure that the child has the financial resources and that financial resources are going to go to them in a way that's going to allow them to continue to have the benefits that you've created, that you've worked so hard to attain for them during your lifetime. There are so many other pillars to this. So hopefully this has been helpful for you to get started. So once again, Laura Croft, Law Offices of Laura Croft, Timeless Estate Planning. If you have a child with special needs, you want to ensure that you have a fortress of protection in place for them. Subscribe here for additional practical advice for estate planning and special needs legal planning. Thank you. Hope to see you soon.